Good morning, afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. I am humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I do continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe. So, howdy, y'all. We probably have folks napping in the background because it's past their bedtime and they would like to listen. Um, and I wish to say happy Wednesday to all y'all out there. It is um, the 6th of April, 2022. And we've managed to make it this far into the year, and most of us are still all alive. Hey, Tracy, Wings, how are you? Um, I know there are a lot of crazy things out there wiggling around in the universe, and you just gotta, stay away from the dragons. That they don't step on you and try to squash your butt. The Null tribe. The null and void tribes, and we're not really here. The null set. That's an interesting proposition. Wings. Do you know what the null set means? just just asking. Anyway, this particular subject of water, they have been dancing it in front of my tiny little brain for a while now. And the interesting thing is that I've been trying to explain to folks over the years, I like to be on the water and my kayak and all that. Yeah, 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 okay. But for me personally, that I would like to share is why the water. And I'm like, still working on it. But I had some intriguing revelations the other day, and I've been kind of, chewing my cud on the deal to see what else came out of it. And this is what I came up with, what they kind of showed me. And I was like, holy crap, water. Why do I have this? Well, I am a water dragon by the zodiac sign, and so there is that. But no, I've had some really intriguing, interesting spiritual experiences while on the water, mostly at night. Um, so why is this? What is it about the water? Well, I've been camping in places that are wide open, no water per se, but out in the wilderness and stuff, and wide open skies, and so that was all really nice and whatever. But being on the water, so what seems to be my connection with that, right? How's this water thing working? And so then my dear friends up yonder decided to wave in front of me the fact that, hey, don't you look at the clouds every day? Now, the other day I was on the river with dear friend Michael, who had never really been on a river like that before. And I'm trying to explain the feeling, the sense, the smell, the presence of being on the water, not just where down here where I live, but there is this presence of water. What is it? And I'm looking at the clouds and I go, well, water can become a cloud. And I went, what? Water can become a cloud. Well, yeah. Wait a minute. What is water made out of? Well, it's H2O. Two of hydrogen, one of oxygen. H2O. Wait a minute. Both of those, H is hydrogen, O is oxygen. So you're telling me that we're going to mix gases together, unseen, can't see them, gases together to make water, which now kind of makes sense in that water is clear, okay? But you're going to take two gases to make a liquid. We drink it, we poop it, we pee it, we swim in it, we drown in it, we wash with it. Water's like the elixir of life. Yeah, okay. We're mostly made of water, but all right, I can understand that connection, you know. But what is it more so the feeling that I have with water? And they tapped me on the shoulder very politely and said, because water is two gases mixed together. Hey, Steve. And I went, what's that got to do with it? And they went, well, dummy, what other element on earth can be a liquid that everybody floats on, plays in, drinks, whatever, and then can literally disappear and become a vapor, which means the O's and the H's separate and it's no longer a liquid. And then these things will conjugate above us in the sky and come together again and form clouds and rain upon, which we've had a pretty good bit of rain today. Thought it was coming in tomorrow, but no, it nailed us this evening. Probably close to 2 inch, at least an inch. Anyway, so here's water that was two gases until it formed this line of stuff and rained upon us, and now it's a liquid again. And it's made the earth soggy and walking across the yard. I got little puddles here and there. I was just outside with Duggar. And so it's becoming part of the earth, but it's still water. So here is this thing, water, that literally soaks into the ground and becomes a part of Mother Nature. It hides in pools and rivers under the ground. Well, is it storage or, what is it? So, but it's not a gas, okay? It's liquid. But this water always has the potential. Calm down, Duggar. Calm down, boy. There's a cat in the neighborhood, and he just does not like this cat. It scares the big jeepers out of me when he jumps across the room like that. But anyway, so water, oh, water is water. Yeah, but it's more than that. It's hydrogen and oxygen. Two hydrogen, one oxygen. And an oxygen, all of a sudden it becomes water. But it's still potential in its dormant state, if you will, of water, is that it will can turn into a gas at any time. And maybe it chooses to turn into a gas on its own and become a vapor. But also, then ice is another form of water, frozen, right? Well, holy crap. So, what other plant mineral thing on the planet is that versatile? Now, I have thought about this over the years and stuff, but I was like, but asking directly, why does water seem to be so special to me in the spiritual realm of things, right? Because it's a gas. You can inhale the mist, you can create fog and breathe it in. You can get a humidifier. You can do all these things. You can breathe. I love all the years up into the mountains and being around waterfalls. And when I was up at that waterfall in in Virginia over the summer with my nephew and niece, breathing in the fresh air that has been molecularized, or whatever, from the vapors and the spray coming off of the waterfall. When it hits the water and there's all this mist, and you can feel it on you, you breathe it in, it's so refreshing. There's a coolness about the air because of what this water does. But it's water, but it's almost a vapor, it's a mist, and so you breathe in the qualities of the water, which are enriched by the mountains and the minerals. But can any minerals actually exist in a drop of water that floats around? But here's the point: you can smell it, you can feel it. So, what other item on this planet is that dadgum versatile? And so I'm asking my science friends, so what does this mean? It means that water just ain't water. Water is spiritual in and of itself because it's a gas first, can't see it. And then all of a sudden it accumulates and creates water, and then vibrates and evaporates out into the air, becomes part of the air again, and then forms clouds and rains back down on us, bringing us mostly good stuff. But there have been floods and things. Um, but so what is the magic of water? It's the fact that it can be water, ice, or a vapor. Yeah, we studied that in school. But you didn't study the fact that how really spiritual is that? Well, okay, Hawkeye, what the hell are you talking about? Well, because we're made up of a lot of water, right? That's what they tell us in science. We're made up of a crap load of water. Hey, Witch Moon, how are you? Yep, love you too, baby. And the owls always bring messages, and not always bad either. Wait, holy crap, I missed it. Pearl, I missed a 20, and I wanted to share it with y'all, but I got on topic, which is okay because we can do a 20 anytime. You doing okay, Miss Pearl? So the idea of water, it's almost like an entity per se, in that it can take these different shapes or forms. Now, there may be something out there that can do the same thing that water does, but when they said Hawkeye, water it starts as two gases, so water is of the air, right? It's not really of the earth. Water is of the air because there's oxygen in it, right? That's how fish breathe. For me, then being drawn to water as a water dragon in the Chinese zodiac. Yeah, okay, but honestly, what makes me feel so spiritually connected with it? Or why does I'm being drawn to water um for meditation purposes is what's in my head, but that's not necessarily it. Um, it just feels good to go down by the river when it's running well and the air is flowing and you can smell it. There's a feel of this, you know, difference in the atmosphere down at the river. It's the water moving, it's all the molecules bumping into each other, it's the energy of the flow of the river with Mother Earth. Um, and water almost always goes downhill. But what does that mean? Well, it's in three different states at the same time because it has the potential to be a gas or a cloud or, under the right circumstances, ice. But what other, it's not a mineral, what other, um, whatever on the chemistry chart does what water does? It's refreshing, Steve, and something that I saw by accident, but does also, water also reflects. If you look in the water, you can see your reflection. Not all the time, but we were on the river the other day. I promise I'm going to upload those videos. I just have been busy. But the sun shining down on the water, it was worse than looking at the sun, the reflection. So water isn't just water and all, but it has these properties of reflecting the sky, clouds, people, your face. So, but it's just a gas, ain't it? That's gotten a bunch together and is turned into water. Right. And in when you see the mist, you can see a rainbow of colors. So it reflects all the colors, I would like to say, in the universe, at least those colors that we can see. So playing as a kid with the sprinkler and jumping in and out and looking at the rainbows, right? So we get that. So water, in and of itself, well, it's just water, right? Yeah, but without it, we're all dead. I mean, everything depends on water at some point. Even the earth, if the earth is dried up and cracked, it changes the properties of the earth. Nothing will grow, blah blah blah. But to the point. So, in looking at this from this my weird skewed look at nature and things, I'm like, I think I get it now that I've seen these different modes of water. That there is the freshness of the molecules just coming off the water when you're sitting on it. You can smell it, you can feel it. It's cooler than the rest of the temperature around you. You can sit on the beach, it'll be one temperature. You go out in the water and sit in the water, it'll be cooler, unless it's like 110 degrees or something. But generally speaking, so the water has all these properties. It is alive, it's moving. Even in a stagnant condition, water has thermoclines. So at the top of the pond, where there's no water flowing in or out at the moment, it's hotter than crap on top. And it's really hot when you stick your foot in. Then as your leg goes down, depending on how deep the puddle or pond is, and how long it's been really hot, like in the middle of summer, but still there are thermoclines. And those thermoclines are the different temperatures of the water. So even in a pond that's sitting still, there's still interaction with its surroundings. And the thermoclines, there's this roiling of water between them. So even a pond that's still and the top of the water is like too hot to put your foot in, it's still moving. Well, number one, if it's that hot, there's vapors evaporating off the top of the pond, because at 112 degrees, things start, water vapor starts rising. Um, or is that 212? Excuse me, 212. But anyway, but still at lower temperatures, evaporation can occur. So why am I focusing on this evaporation? Because it's how we get it into our lungs. Now we don't like a lot of water in our lungs because it will drown us. But a sufficient amount of mist or whatever is refreshing. I dare you. Go stand by a waterfall and tell me that you feel like crap. that, just breathing in the mist and being around the energy, big waterfall, little waterfall, I don't think it really matters, except in the degree of energy that you may feel. So for me, I still want to go to the river. Now, again, places where I go when I talk about the river, it doesn't flow really fast. We went to two rivers here the last 2 weeks, and they're both like hauling butt. Now, it's great you can get in and float down a river, but you got to be careful. But if you're out on a lake or on a pond or something, and you can sit still in a craft at night on the water, or in the early evening or early morning, even, there's something about the bright of day that kind of takes away some of it. And I think it's just because it's so bright on the brain, you can't connect to the, not necessarily the dark side or the shadowy side, but there ain't a lot of light over there. It's so that you can see things in the dark. Um, but anyway, I think for me, I've always honored water. And I understand how important it is. We got, an inch and a half of rain today. The backyard's full of water again. My rivers come back up again, and it was already at a flood stage. So this is going to be interesting. But lots of water, lots of energy, a lot of freshness in the air. And just in walking through the water in my backyard, when it gets flooded like this, because if you want to get any further, you got to wade in some spots. So, which is okay. You get your feet wet. That it changes your ankles and your feet. It's colder and it changes the temperature of your body, and it brings a freshness to you, even though your feet are just in the water. So, what is it about that? You know what I mean? But it's the interaction. Your body is interacting with the liquid itself, but also there are these evaporative vapors around you. You just don't see, but you can pick them up in the form of smells, the freshness, or whatever. So you're bathing in the water when only your feet are in the water. Wait, what? Because the essence of the water in a vapor form is always around the water. So if you can stand in a pond and you're only up to your ankles, you can like douse yourself with the energy of the water, because it may not be a bunch, but there is water vapor around you because you're standing in it. What? Okay, so all right, now what good does that do me? Because that water has probably been in Mother Earth, through her, come out, come up in some way in a well or something, evaporated, turned into a cloud, and then rained and turned into a pond. What? In my feeling of it, I must respect all forms of the water. Now, I always have. I've dug my own well. I'm digging one down here in the back. I'm always talking about, the wetlands and the river and so forth and all that. So I am, connected to the water, and I'm glad I am, right? But I've also wondered, but why does it mean so much, right? Well, as a shaman in training, the last time I was on the river, it's almost been a week now. But I was like, because it's a vapor, not yes, but not really because it's a vapor or because they were gases ahead of time. It's the fact of the transformation of water. We as human beings have the same ability, because we're full of water, and some are full of shit, but um, that we could evaporate maybe and turn to a gaseous form and fly off into the universe and then come back down to the earth. as life-giving water. What? So the association of the spirit. So in meditating and learning to astral project and go into the dream time, the dream world, the void, you have to relax. You have to become essentially a vapor. Okay. You're still you, right? But you have become a vapor. Now, a vapor is still water, right? It's just another form and a description of the state of being of the water at that time. It is a vapor, okay? Well, vapor is sort of like a cloud, ain't it? It's like mist. See, a lot of different ways to explain it, but it's always the same. Small particles of water that are suspended in the air, right? So, water, then, why does it feel so fresh and smell good around water? It's got oxygen in it. What? So, water falls tumbling and spinning, putting off all this absolutely fresh oxygen. Holy crap. So on the river you're paddling and there's vapors and whatever. So you're inhaling Mother Earth. Think about it. Because the rain, the vapors, whatever, has at some time resided within the earth. Now, how much more intimate can you be as a substance to be able to be hundreds or maybe even thousands of feet deep in the earth and to be able to come up, turn into a vapor, go visit the sky beings, look at the stars from up yonder, and then join with your fellow H and twos and O's and become a water droplet and return back to the earth. The metaphor, if you will, is if we meditate as if we are water. Now, in my title, I say dance, become water, dance with the earth. The dance is just that. Water goes into the earth, it nourishes, it does. Plants give it off with evaporation and perspiration, and even sweat has its purposes, right? So, but the idea though that water could have, the water that's in my backyard could have come at some point from my sweat glands or maybe somebody's pee. That's a bad way to look at it, but it's all been cleansed. It goes through Mother Earth when Earth isn't polluted, mind you, goes through Mother Earth, it goes through these different cycles. And to me, that's pretty damn spiritual. I'm a water molecule, and Creator called me to the skies and said, Hawkeye, look at this planet. Look at Mother Earth. Look at what you and all these other water droplets um, are doing together. Well, okay, but wait a minute. What's that got to do with me and spirituality and a shaman in training? And they're like, dude, you're a water droplet. Yeah, okay. No, no, no. You, Hawkeye, are a drop of water in the sea of humanity. Well, did I just evaporate? No, we just want to show you what this means. You have, all of us have the ability because we're full of water and full of the other. Some of us more than others, right? That if we allow ourselves to just meditate, close our eyes, quote, and become like water, then we can become a vapor, we can become a cloud, literally, because we're made of the same things that clouds are made of, H, twos, and O's, right? then how come I can't float? I mean, in water either. When in the room, you're in a liquid. So water helps reconnect to your birth self. And that too, Steve. I mean, but see, it's all connected. That's just one portion for us humans. We're born into a liquid state, if you will. We aren't liquid per se, but we're born into a liquid state in the womb. Absolutely. And all critters are in some kind of liquid state when as they're progressing. I mean, a chicken lays an egg, but in that egg, in that yolk and everything, is everything it needs normally to make a chicken. And having raised chickens over the years, and I want to get back into it again. Me and a friend were talking about it today, and I said, chickens do what chickens do, right? But anyway, so, but in that egg, though, so in the womb is the egg. There's always an egg involved somewhere, which guess what? Contains a liquid. And in that liquid, there's some water around. You know what I mean? So, or at least the properties of water. So, I always consider water sacred. I mean, I just do. Other people, not so much. They waste it and this and that. Okay. But in trying to figure out why is water so important to me is an explanation, hopefully, that all y'all can get around. Which Moon says I'm totally there. Um, I hadn't. I had seen all the properties of water. Have discussed this. What we used to do, my friend Serge and I, when we did puppet shows and science projects and things. We did them live in front of young folks in grade schools and so forth, and we were most of the time talking about water, and also as a vapor. So, but I had never really connected it to me personally. Yeah, like waters, waterfalls, clear water, blah blah. Yes, they're always refreshing, but I'd never asked the question directly. So, what does this water mean to me in my shaman journey? Well, you understand water. Well, yeah, but you don't understand water enough. Now, this was the other day, okay? You don't understand water enough to know how closely related you are to it. And I was like, wait, water? Yeah, made of water. Yeah, okay. Blah, blah, blah. No. So, in the astral world, as you wish to dream and go into the dream time, you become a mist. Oh, oh, crap. I am like water in that respect. Not just that I have it in me, but I can turn myself into a vapor simply by just allowing it to happen because it's already a natural thing for us because we've got water in us to evaporate, you know? So, but it's something, well, but it's water. And so I got a bunch of liquid in me. Big deal. Actually, maybe it really is a big deal because for folks who are having trouble going into the astral world or whatever, they're afraid. I know I was when it first started happening to me because you're leaving your body. Actually, you're not. Well, you're becoming a vapor. Yeah, but you're still water. if if you've evaporated, then you're not water anymore. But as long as you're a vapor, then you're still water. You still have the properties of water. So you want to astral project, consider yourself just as a vapor, a mist. That is you. It's still connected. It's still water. So it's not like you're going somewhere, oh my God, I'm going to get lost, blah, blah, blah. That is your connection. the fact that if you in your astral state have become a vapor, then you will still stay connected with the universe because there are vapors everywhere in the universe, especially here on Earth. I won't I won't go so much out to the universe per se, but water is essential across the galaxy. Let's go with that. People need it, humans need it, plants need it. It's just one of them things. Um, so here's an interesting question they just posed me. So if they say there's no water on the moon, what are they saying? They're saying there's no hydrogen and oxygen on the moon, but there's no water. Well, but if you took some oxygen, maybe there's some hydrogen laying around up there, you could have water. So maybe we figure out, if this was the case, to make a hydrogen generator or an oxygen generator. But in both of those, I think you need water. Hmm, interesting. So, but across the universe, water would still have the same properties. It would either be in a liquid, frozen, or a gaseous state, a vapor. Now, when those atoms split, the two hydrogens and that one oxygen, do they forget their water? Does that oxygen um, molecule or atom, does it remember the water? Does it remember that it was part of a bigger plan, meaning water, liquid, versus just oxygen just floating around willy nilly, right? Whereas, and what about them two hydrogens? Are what are they doing? Them two hydrogens that literally like bonding together, and they're like two schoolboys with their arms locked together. Hey, oxygen, come over here, woo! Or maybe it's two schoolgirls, or who knows? Anyway, maybe it ain't got nothing to do with school. But so the idea, though, that these two elements, hydrogen and oxygen, just floating around, bam, now we're water. Now we have become the elixir of life. Wow. So now out in the universe, if I go outside, there's oxygen in the air. Otherwise, I, I wouldn't be breathing, right? And there's got to be some hydrogen around because moisture can appear through evaporation on a window or something, piece of plastic, so it can appear out of nowhere. What? Yeah. I mean, if you have sun shining on something and there's a difference under here, it will sweat. It will create water just right out of the air. Holy carbs. Wow. What other compound does that? And we are the water. We can become a mist because we've already got the properties. We don't have to go out and look for stuff. We already are this. We are elements of the universe automatically. Well, what the hell does that mean, Hawkeye? I'm still working on it. It means that I love the water even more. And every time I want to, I've had some of my biggest downloads and my best sharings of the universe being around or on the water. I've had some of my scariest being drowned under the water. I've had some of my most chilling experiences from hypothermia from cold water too many times. But the idea, though, that each of those experiences with water somehow made me stronger in the long run, just speaking personally. So being a water dragon, okay, got a lot of water experiences, drownings and shit. Okay. Um, but I can honestly say those instances with water have made me a better spiritual being. Had I not had the opportunity to feel what it's like to literally freeze to death and to shiver and shake to the point where you literally think your body's going to fall apart, and you cannot get warm, that's a hell of an experience. And I don't wish it on anybody. But from that experience, though, I got to experience what frozen means to water. And in the other states where I've passed out in the woods and on the river and so forth, from the heat where it's 105 in the shade, and how the heat drains you of liquid and does those things. It tries to turn you into a vapor. So it's interesting. Now, if you will take your own experiences, you can recreate these. Like, for example, just go to some place where there's water, take your shoes and socks off if you're so inclined, and put your feet in and wiggle your toes. And then feel the sensation. Feel what the water does to the rest of you. Feel what it's like to be in the water, unless there's piranha or sharks or, giant snakes or tiny snakes that might poison you. But anyway, the idea that you put your feet in the water, oh man, my feet are so tired. I couldn't wait to get home and put my feet in some water, some warm water with some Epsom salts. Lord have mercy, you know. So, with that said, all of the peoples, all of societies understand how important water is, but do they get it on a spiritual level? Now, many tribes, many folk do. I'm not trying to just say that nobody respects the water. But so here's something that I started. I can't remember how long back, a long time. So if I've had a really crappy day, um, and if any of you have ever seen the South Pacific, the Broadway show or off Broadway show, there's a scene where I'm going to wash that man right out of my hair. I'm going to wash that man right out of my hair and bring it on today. Anyway, so, but it's wash, right? Wash him out of my hair, wash him out of my head, just get him out of my life, right? So, but in that, many years ago, on especially nasty days where it feels like people have just thrown crap on you all day, do a meditation shower where the water is cleansing and I'm scrubbing it off. It's going down the drain. All the worries, all the woes, all the whatever it is upon that day, I'm shedding and I'm putting it in the water that's draining off of me. It doesn't really work in a bath. Why? Because you sit in the washing, you sit in the soap. Now, some people say take a bath and then rinse off. I agree with that. But it's not, if you're going to do a cleansing, do it as a shower because then it can't sit and get into your pores. Just saying. So, but do the scrubbing and start with your feet where you touch the ground. Why? Because you want to reconnect to Mother Earth. So, wash your feet, scrub your feet, whatever it is. It ain't got to be this big ritual, but while you're washing them, and washing your body. I'm washing my body of the this crappy day, whatever it is. I'm washing it away. It's going down in the drain. It's going back to Mother Earth because it's going down in the drain. And I'm cleansing myself so I can feel Mother Earth better with my feet and my legs and this and that. All this stuff is just going to go way down the drain. 5 minutes of shower, make you feel a whole lot better. It's not just the shower, but it is. How many people feel so much better after a shower or a bath? But you've had fresh water rinse all the crap off of you, not just whatever, skin particles or whatever. No, it's washing all the crap off of you. And if you use the water in a water meditation, a shower, then you can cleanse your spirit as well. And they reminded me of this the other day, and they were like, you do these meditation showers, right? Well, yeah. Well, there's vapors coming off of the shower when it's and hot water and the steam, and you're breathing it in, and holy crap. I mean, it's not just the water. It's whoa, it is the water, but it's the vapor, it's the this, it's the energy, and it's oxygen, right? Not sure what the hydrogen's doing to us, but okay. But it is oxygen, and we're getting oxygen released freshly from the other two hydrogen molecules, right? But in that freshness that we smell, feel, that, and even some of the worstest people I've known are refreshed by water and things, right? So even the crappiest of people can, have a cleansing of water. Not that it makes them good, but you know, they understand it at least on this very gutsy, guttural kind of feel, right? So ain't that spiritual then? My folks reminded me, well, hell yeah. Oh, so for me, the connection, water dragon. Oh, so because I unconsciously have this connection with water, and I've understood these things over the many years, not just all clumped together like I'm talking about them right now, that oh my God, no wonder I'm drawn to the water. No wonder I want to go out there and just float on the water in the middle of the night and become part of the mist, become part of the water vapor. And this last, not the other day, last time, but the last time about a year or so ago, when they lifted me up out of my kayak and took me up into the universe, I've been kind of wondering how'd they do that. I know they got powers and stuff, but and then it went back to because you're on the water. Well, if it's water, then how'd they do it? I became a mist. I became part of the mist of the river because it was cold at night, and there was those little bitty vapors you could see coming off of the water. So I, in closing my eyes and just becoming, part of the kayak and the and in the situation, and oh, I kind of sort of became water vapor. Oh, because I'm not just sitting on the water because of all these other properties. You're so close to the vapor, you don't see it, you're not aware of it. Well, my skin feels different, and your face is, yeah. Well, duh, that's the water. Oh, and it's releasing oxygen on you, so you kind of like, oh, and that's what gives you this higher sense of spirituality when you, Hawkeye Two Feathers, are on or around or near the water. Oh, wow. I kind of understood it, but I wanted to be able to explain it to you as per their help and instructions. In that, so, and I've talked about water for a while, blah, 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 go put your feet in water, but oh my God, I knew that there was power in the water but showing me these different levels of how it's a vapor and then it can condense. And I mean, you can turn it into a vapor and condense it right back. So it's like you don't even have to go up very far to become water again. So If we meditate as we are water, which we are, and you can visualize yourself as a mist, and that you can become water any point later on, right? Um, you don't lose yourself. Well, I'm worried I might drift off somewhere. Yeah, but you're always going to be water. That's always going to have your essence in it, not mine per se. But who knows? Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we drink it, we pee it, we sweat it, and it goes somewhere. Doesn't it become part of the total human, um, not just human, but the whole earthly experience? So I might be drinking somebody's urine in my coffee because it was evaporated out, became a cloud, and turned back into water again. I know, I know. Hawkeye, you are got to find these freaking weird ass, but to the point though, if it has become water again, it's no longer pee. Period. If it is evaporated, then it ain't pee no more. It has become hydrogen and oxygen. And when it comes back together as a mist or a bead of water or whatever, it ain't pee no more. That's it. It ain't. Oh, but it could have been. Okay, sure. But it ain't no more. Okay. But it could have been. It could have been the water that it rained today could have been deep within the earth at some point and came up as a spring on the Flint River, turned into a vapor, became a cloud, and rained back on us. So absolutely. Was these water vapors in the earth? Yeah. So it has the essence also of Mother Earth within the water. What? So every time you bathe in just water, you're bathing in the purest sense of Mother Earth. You can waller in the mud, and in a way, it might get you clean up to a point, but you're going to want the mud off you. And so you're taking mud, which is dirt and compounds from Mother Earth. And to get mud, you got to have water. So, but to clean the mud off, you use water. And it's the life giving essence of Mother Earth and the planet. So, I would just like, in general, you folks hopefully understand, and I've talked about this over the years, that we need to honor water more. We need to quit taking it for granted. We need to quit overusing it. I mean, you've heard me rip about this stuff. But the essence of it is like, well, why am I so passionate? Well, because it's important. Water is important to everything, and et cetera, et cetera. And the conservation of and everything. Hey, Regen, how are you? Hey, Isby. I know that there are folks out there that have trouble focusing when they try to meditate. Gurgling water, babbling brooks, those sounds are out there. I gotta say, they help me. Other noises and things, nah. But Babbling Brook, because every time I went to the mountains, I always camped beside a babbling brook because the sound of that water flowing and bubbling and churling and gurgling is just like ain't nothing like it. So, and it always brings me calm. Now, I haven't been to the mountains since this summer and didn't really camp out in the mountains like I did in the past, but I took rides down to the river and almost fell in the river and oh, that's why my back hurts. I forgot about that. Anyway, the idea though that being down on the river and feeling the mist and the spray and the whatever, just makes you feel better. I can't explain it, but other people feel it too. So there's got to be something to the spirituality of water. Uh, so use it to your benefit. Use it in your meditations. I am going to become like the water, still and calm. I will become one with the water and become a mist as it evaporates into the universe, so that I may travel into the universe as a droplet of water and then return, refreshed with energy from the cosmos. Oh, holy crap. So I wanted to pass this on to y'all. Um, there's a lot of different ways that water comes to us when we are emotional. When we're too happy, we sometimes will cry. When we're very sad and grieving, we cry. There's salt in our tears, and it's a way to express how we feel. And there are times when, if you don't cry, it stays bottled up. But many people will tell you that whatever has bothered them, if they have a good cry, they feel better. Now, why is that? You're expelling water through your tear ducts. But maybe, just maybe, you're expelling some of this tragedy and some of this horrible feeling, and you release it through your tear ducts as water to get rid of it. Because everybody ever say, well, I cried. Well, but I did feel better afterwards. Now, not 2 or 3 days worth of crying, no, but, and almost everybody will agree at some point they had a good cry, and afterwards they felt better. And tears were involved, right? Water. Oh, holy crap. Where did those tears go? Well, absorbed in your sleeve or a napkin or a paper towel or whatever, or it just dripped to the ground and became part of the universe. But whatever, it evaporated at some point and went back to its true state of form, hydrogen and oxygen, which I will repeat are two gases that form a liquid. What other, now, I'm not a chemist, and there probably are other gases that you could mix together and that would become liquid. But I don't know of any offhand. Not saying there aren't, I just don't know of them offhand. Um, but if we don't know of them offhand, they're not as universally important as the cycle of life with water. So, hey, use water to your advantage. When you drink it, put power into it. I'm drinking this to keep me healthy, blah, blah, blah. You know, this water is going to keep me healthy. And you've just empowered the water. Stick your finger in it, stir your finger around, and put wishful thinking into it and drink it. Um, will it hurt? No. Will it do you any good? We'll see. At least your mind's in the right frame of mind, and you're using the concept of water, which is basis for us in the universe, at least here on Earth, as we know it. So it's really danged important. So honor water as not just the lifeblood of Mother Earth, but the lifeblood of all of us, right? Because it passes through us, we use it. Our ancestors drank water, peed it, pooped it, and died and evaporated. So in the water is the essence of all life because it has come in contact with it at some point. Hmm. That's why going down to the river, the lake part of the river, and sitting out on it is so important to me. And I thank my spirit guides and the dream time. because these last few days have been dang interesting as far as, well, now you're a water droplet. Okay. Now you're in the ocean. Okay. Now you're going to get evaporated. What? And now you're going flying. So, my dear friends, you want to go for a trip in the universe? Consider yourself a drop of water. Oh, in the vast sea of the universe. Yeah, okay. But just the properties of a drop of water that can be ice, a gas, a liquid, a vapor, and then go back into the air and then come back again endlessly. I don't know if there's any oxygens that are out there flowing around that say, well, I'm sorry, I hooked up with two H's one time, and I was the O of the group, and I wouldn't go back to that shit for nothing. Now these are three molecules, right? Um, what do you mean you're not going to go back? Oh, them two H's, man. Nah, I've had enough of that hell. Well, hang on. So my point is that any oxygen would still combine with any two hydrogens. It's an endless thing. Well, it's not a one-time deal. Well, I met these two H's and we rained on the parade, and that was that. Huh? So I just wanted to share this little bit of crazy thought that my dear friends upstairs have been actively like putting me through these different scenarios, if you will, about water. But it has been one of my own curiosities in that I wonder, I want to understand. I know that there is a connection with me and water, but I want to understand deeply why for me. And I realized that in asking why for me, I was kind of asking it for everybody. Why? Well, it is the elixir of life and all this good stuff. We got a 20 in a minute. And I'm reloading so I can have one with you. And then I'm going to call it an early evening because I got things I got to do tomorrow and stuff. And as much as I like hanging out with y'all, it's really tough to do 2 and 3 and 4 hours, energy wise and so forth. And so I'm going to try not to do 3 and 4 and 5 hour stuffs like I was doing before. But I do want to be here more frequently versus if I'm here more frequently rather than 1 8 hour program in a week, could be less effective. But in certain topics that the spirits seem to want to pass on, like how the importance of water is more important than the water. I mean, it's the process of the water. It's its connection with the universe. Yeah, but it's water. I know, but so I wow, water in and of itself is spiritual, period. No matter what state it's in, even ice is. So I'm like, wow. So to me, this is sort of a heavy, like extra explanation, a little deeper into it. I've understood all these other properties and things and stuff, but I did want an explanation deeper for me. Y'all get that? Hey, that way. The hippies are right, still are, always will be. I don't know. I knew some hippies that were just klutzes, but yeah, told me a while back, you had better The Nully Soul Tribe. So, but anyway, here's to you, y'all. Happy 20. Everyone is telling the truth, just at what level? um, I think in the universe right now, and it could very well be attached to the water. Um, because I've talked about water in plastic containers and so forth. Me and a few others agreed that by my not using plastic bottles and so forth, my arthritis and everything is just better over the years. And it has not gotten worse, okay? And I still don't drink out of plastic bottles much. But so, with that in mind, could all these people who drink nothing but bottled water all the time, could they be ingesting literally something that is warping their state of mind because of the water? The water I drink either comes straight from the sky and is collected in my 1,000-gallon tank, or it comes from the earth in a well that I dug. And so I know, well, I know the water came from the sky, okay? But where did it really come from? Not a clue, but neither do any of us. But the water out of my well came out of my ground here. I know what's around me. It's a shallow well and not a deep well. People say, well, that's bad. I'm still here. Um, and after cleaning out my holding tank, my water tank up there, it's even better than it was. Oh my God. But anyway, so um, I don't feel like I am being steered in any particular way because I'm drinking natural water. I'm not drinking water and depending on it from a container. Now, I fill my containers with water, but I know where it comes from versus somebody else's water you buy in a store and you drink it. Do you know where that water comes from? No. Um, you know, really, you don't know where it comes from. So, what difference does it make? Well, spiritually, for me, I don't want to drink this chlorinated, gobbledygook of stuff that they shove in a bottle that gives off gases into the water and could potentially give everybody arthritis and other joint diseases. Hang on, wait a minute. It ain't the same. That water ain't the same water, you know? There ain't nothing in my water but water, you know? It has a little bit of mineral taste because it hangs out in the clay down in the ground. But and I did have issues until recently with clay being suspended in the water, but I took care of that problem and it is 95, 98% better. Actually, it's 100% better, but there's still a little bit of clay that gets through, but not much. So, but anyway, and the clay ain't bad for you to begin with. It's a natural thing and will draw out um, toxins from your body. The old timers still do eat clay down here in the South. I don't know about up north. I ain't heard nobody. But folks down here in the South, Georgia, Alabama, and I would suppose Mississippi, but it's a tradition for folks, some folks at least, to eat some clay at least once a week. It ain't just dirt, it's clay. And it's what they make kitty litter out of. Okay. It's Fuller's Earth. It's a white clay. They also use certain types of Fuller's Earth in ceramics, like for the space shuttle. And also, what I'm finding is that they use these ceramics to build um, catalytic converters. So, but anyway, the clays have different properties, right? And when you heat up Fuller's Earth and dry it to the max, it becomes very absorbent, even more so than a sponge, but like a sponge that collects liquid, that collects water. Okay, just and oil. But so there are all these different properties of water. But when you say, "Well, I'm drinking water," yeah, but where are you getting it? Be honest, right? Well, it says it's pure spring water, but did you get it from the spring? Well, no, it says so on the label. Did you go and see where the water was coming out? No, but they have pictures on the website and all. Yeah, okay, do you really know where the water came from? And the reason I say that is because the water in the state it's in the bottle or the manufacturing, is simply not natural. Why? Because it's in a pipe, it's in a facility, it's being whatever, right? Well, we put it through. Now, I have a well that pumps the water out of the ground, but I can also open up the door and drop a bucket in and haul it out myself. Okay, but in a manufacturing plant, the water's going through piping and this and that. It ain't just coming right out of the ground or straight out of the sky, is my point. So you don't know where the water's been, honestly. But it's fresh, it's clean, and it's okay. But you still don't know, right? It might just have one little tiny molecule per bottle of water that ain't shouldn't be there. But if you drink enough of that water with stuff that ain't really natural, what's it going to do to you? Well, me and other folks like Max, we've chosen to not drink out of plastic bottles. When it's necessary, yes, I will. But mostly, no, I don't. Not as a dependency. So you got to find your own medium. But so everybody's like, they're washing their hair because they live in the city. And when I've gone to the city or stayed in motels, there is this bleachy smell on me. My hair gets brittle, and it's like I don't have any of those issues. My water out of my well or the sky. But if I go to any place in town that chlorinates and whatever fluoridates or whatever they do to their water, that ain't natural. Okay, that's the truth. Oh, but no, there are no oh buts. It's been treated. But no matter what excuse you give it, you're still living in this lie. Well, the water's good and it's this, but it ain't. Now, if you live in the country like me and you've got well water something, then probably you're a lot better off than people who have to deal with any kind of municipal water. So there are people living this lie that, quote, their water is good for them. All right. So spiritually speaking, their water, which this last hour I was trying to explain how spiritual the water is, just in and of itself, because it can transform, mutate, and then come back as water. That's some serious, you know, doings. But if you interfere with the natural order of it, yes, there's still water with stuff in it. Hmm. Well, is it natural stuff like clay come out of the ground? Is it rainwater that maybe it picks up some dust particles or whatever on the way down? Okay. But it ain't been treated by any plant with fluorides or any other types of chemicals and or salts. There are certain salts that are used in to soften the water and make it not so hard. But and um, when I dumped out my hot water heater last week, um, there was clay and silt in the bottom of it, but there was no calcium and other types of deposits, lime deposits, that when I worked as a handyman, I did a lot of cleaning of hot water heaters and draining the tank and getting all that crap out. And I had clay after 20 some odd years of water that I'd never cleaned out before, versus once a year, these people with a 30 or 40 gallon hot water heater, I would have to go into the tank, take out the element, and there would literally be just this deep in calcium deposits and stuff, right? And whatever else trapped in the bottom of the hot water heaters. Why? Because the hot water stimulated that within the water, and it precipitates out any heavier whatever compounds, and they get together and grow together as these calcium deposits, right? And so people, the hot water heater, blah, blah. My point is that ain't really natural neither, because I've heated water here at the house with the well water, and I ain't seen one piece of calcium or that type of deposit in my hot water heater. After 40 years of living here, not one piece. Clay, some dirt, yeah, that's in the water, that's in the well. But none of this other stuff. And my one friend of mine, dear friend of mine, I haven't been to see in a while, shame on me. But once a year, like clockwork, hey, Mr. Dave, it's time to clean out my hot water heater. Okay, I'll plan it. Had to get a water hose, had to get everything ready, turn off the water to the house, blah, 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 and drain it. Because if it didn't once a year, it would blow the lower element in her house, and then she wouldn't have any hot water. So, and other people, it's their ritual. Sometimes they do it themselves. My point is, out here in the country, ain't never had to do it. City folk, all the time, all the time. So you're getting, quote, fresh water, but are ye? Is the water that you're getting from a municipality, has it been challenged spiritually? I know, in that it ain't the same water as just water. It's been mucked with, tucked with, otherwise, but it ain't what a lot of us just get used naturally, right? I don't know what the solution to that is. Actually, I do, but not everyone. I guess I should say most folk can't, or that their choices to get it are just, I don't want to fool with it, right? Hey, Katniss, how are you? If you keep your body alkaline, it never gets sick, right? I got filters on my well, but they're more for um just sediment, you know, because I dug a hole in the ground in the clay myself with the help of others. But I dug most of every bit of that 22 feet that's in that hole out there. Um, my point in the spirituality of the water, okay, to me, because of the water situations, treatment plants, and so forth, that water ain't near as spiritual as rainwater or fresh well water or whatever. Okay. And I think you could probably agree with me that, yeah, because it's been mucked with, it really isn't in its natural state. And the natural state is what makes it, in my humble opinion, so very spiritual. Um, so for folks who don't have natural water, they're suggesting that you find some natural water and put your feet in it. Not necessarily drink it, bathe it. It depends on where the water's come from. But go put your feet in some natural water, not processed water. Touch the real thing. If it's raining outside, then go stand on the porch and put your hands in the rain and put it on your face and feel the rain, feel the water, because that's coming straight from the creator out of the sky. Yeah, you folks that live in really industrial areas, they might be other stuff coming with that rain from the, you know, whatever clouds of steam or whatever you may have around you. But in general, most people, and if it's been raining for a day, at the end of the day, is if there was anything up there in the clouds, it's gone. Okay. It's already on the ground. So at the end of the rainstorm, go out and get some of that really fresh rain that has already washed the contaminants out of the sky. Get the tail end of that rain shower and put some real water on you. Okay. Spirits are saying too many people have the wrong water. You know, they think they're doing right, but they got the wrong water, and they're not touching the real thing. So they're asking me to tell you, go touch the real thing. Be honest with yourself. Is it real, or are they selling me something? What? Oh yeah, this is the best water ever. You buy this, you'll be healthy forever. Then why do I got to buy it from you? And what are you putting it in? Is it a glass bottle? Well, no, we use plastic. No. How's it coming to me? Well, we're going to, what? And honestly, how do you really honestly know where that water is coming from? What pipe it's been through? So find real water, okay? Um, because the true spirituality is in that natural water. When you go to the ocean, which I have not been to in a while, when you've been to the ocean, though, and the waves and the feel, you can't mess with that. Now, there's pollution in the oceans and so forth, but still, that ocean is mostly water, you know, and some salt mixed in. And the salts are good for you, not the pollution, um, but the idea though that is real water. Now, if you're around a city and there's pollution and dead things floating in it, go somewhere where it's a little cleaner, and then go wading. But touch real water. Um, it's just absolutely good for the soul. So, in my trying to understand why is water important to me and why it is so crazily important to me, I mean, obsessively to the point, oh, my spirit has understood why water was important, but my 3D brain could not put all the little tiny little pieces together until I went through this little thing these last 4, 5, 6 days with them trying to teach me the nuances of good water, bad water, fresh water, bottled water, spring water versus manufactured spring water. And oh, so every time it goes through something, it can literally, because the flow of water can generate a charge, albeit a very minute charge. It's sort of like picking up static electricity when you rub your socks across the carpet, right? And you zap something. Water and the minerals and whatever's in the water um, will absolutely set up a charge, especially in a metal pipe, but it will also do it in a plastic pipe, okay? Because plastic does contain a certain amount, especially if you rub that pipe just right, it gets a charge. But that um, things will collect on the inside of a pipe of running water, and you go, "That's not possible." Oh, yeah, it is. The pipes that I've seen in Moultrie and Thomasville and some of these other small towns are closed up from the old galvanized pipe they used way back. So if your water is running through a section of old galvanized piping, you ain't got a clue what's in that water now, let me tell you. Um, but new pipe, plastic pipes and things, they said back when I first put plastic pipe in the ground here 40 years ago, that plastic pipe will kill you, Dave. Now to come to find out, that old galvanized pipe them folks installed 40 some years ago, that's what's going to kill them because of the zinc and the different things and what was in the galvanizing. Okay, so but now plastic piping, um I don't know, I've installed it. It's been here. I haven't had any other type of piping other than plastic. Okay. So if it was going to kill me, I think I'd have seen something by now, right? Um, Either that or I'm just stubborn. But to the point though, I think it also has to do with there's nothing else in the water here. It's just water and a little sand once in a while. So does that have anything to do with it? Absolutely. Does the water in my pipes pick up the same amount of charge in the water, say, as living in a city? The answer is no, because the water's traveling through all these pipes to get to you. And for all the flow that's going along, it's it's um, creating a static charge within the pipe itself. It is measurable, but it's minute. But over time, it builds up and it releases calciums and stuff into the pipe itself. So you say, oh, well, no, I'm getting the same water. Are you? Well, yeah. I mean, this pipe's been in the ground for 50 years. What kind? Oh, it's old galvanized pipe, you know. I still get good water pressure and everything. Okay. But when you take that pipe loose and look down that pipe and you see that it's almost clogged closed with different types of things that have collected, guess what, on the inside of the pipe. Well, wait a minute. Ain't water flowing through it all the time? Shouldn't it like break those particles loose? There shouldn't be anything other than water on the inside of the pipe. You'd be surprised. So I bring this up because anything that's in the water like that, in my humble opinion, and from my spirit guides who are trying to help explain this, is that it's still water, but not real water because there are these other things in it. Contaminants, well, you know, interactions with other things, the charges that are put inside of the pipes and in a big city, the pipe is running everywhere, the water is collecting all this energy. Okay. So if water can collect these things, and it does, so it starts out at the local water plant. Now, let's just say for whatever, this big water main comes out, it's going down to the city. Well, there's a prison nearby that this huge pipe goes past. Okay. So there are 500 prisoners in this facility, this correctional institute. Now, the water goes into the um, prison or whatever facility and doesn't really stay there. But here's the thing, it goes by there. Now, all right, Dave, what the hell are you? Okay, wait. The water's in the pipes in the building. And yes, it's running and flowing as they need it. But all that water is still connected. So there's some guy in prison who's watching going, I hate my fucking wife. I'm going to kill that bitch when I get out of here. Everybody. So that energy has been transmitted to the water. And the other water in the pipes goes back down. Did you hear this crazy guy? He wants to kill that bitch of his wife. And it gets added to the big pipe. Why? Because energetically, all the water is connected. Oh, what? So now that's just going by the correctional institute. Now it goes by the hospital because hospital needs water and all them sick people. So all them sick people are moaning and groaning and pain, and they are. And so, but the water, because it goes up into the hospital for cleaning and stuff and everything, is hears that moaning and groaning and sickness. And because it's sitting in the pipe inside the wall next to the person who's dying, that energy is potentially spiritual energy, the spirit part of the water, is potentially transmitted to the water simply because it's nearby. Okay. Nurse goes over, washes her hands. Washing blood off, PC, pee, whatever, Well, all this is attached to the water. Okay. As the water is coming down, it's touching whatever it is that's there. But because it's touching and all the molecules go back up and down, back down the pipe, that energy, just like the static that's collected in the pipes on the inside, can, what's to say it can't be transmitted back down through the water, back down to the water main. Now, so potentially you got the prison with all the criminals and nasty attitudes. Now the water is in, it ain't touched nobody, right? But it's just nearby. So the spirituality of the water, if it had any in it, went after they got done polluting it, testing it, and fluoridizing it and whatever, right? That now the water is even less spiritual in a positive way. And so for all the miles and miles of pipe, that water has to go to reach you, your home, and your family. So spiritually speaking, how freaking good is it? If it's been through the if the water main goes through under a bad neighborhood, it goes through South Side Chicago. There's murders and killings, and water don't touch them, but it's all around them in pipes and things. And so there is this feeling in the neighborhood that can very well be potentially spiritually attached to the water. So the bigger the town, the more the problems, the less likely the water that you get is going to be very spiritually enhanced. If anything, it may be 50-50. Um, so what do? Then you obviously, I would think, you would obviously have to try to change the energetic properties of the water. Okay. Understand maybe if you're going to drink it, but even bathe in it, maybe that I'd rather go outside with a pail of water and wash off than to take a shower and with some of the water folks I've been with, the chlorine and other stuff in the water. It burns my eyes when I'm in the shower. Why would I put that on my body? I don't. I'll go outside and go play in a mud puddle. That water is actually cleaner, you know. But so there are people whose energies are being hijacked because the water that they're washing with has a low potential for spiritualness. And if anything, it may have collected a lot of crap along its way just to get to your house. Is that possible? Well, water is connected to everything. I mean, you know, the oceans, the springs. But here's the thing, energetically speaking, because water can become a vapor and vaporize and just kind of sort of disappear, you know, then where does that energy go? Is it stuck to the two hydrogens after the oxygen has left them cold or hot? Actually, they would leave hot because that breaks the bond is heat, right? Turns to steam. So, in a heated discussion, water turns into a vapor. So, when we argue with someone and it gets very heated, it can be left to go up as a vapor and get rid of the anger and the argument. But anyway, different another realm of possibilities when we look at anger management and the transfer of water and different properties. Moving on. So water just ain't water. I absolutely have, after this about a week long little, you know, delve into the spiritual properties of water and the potential risks of society on that water when we think we're getting good stuff and it's healthy and all that. Maybe not. And like I say, they showed me after being on the water, by the way, and asking specifically, they showed me just how wildly crazy, you know. For example, if I'm just going to pick Moultrie because it's near here. So Moultrie's got several large water towers around town. And that water's being pumped up out of the ground from 200, 300, 500 feet below the surface and put into the water tower for pressure to get to the homes in that area. Okay, common. But what if, for whatever reason, the water that was being pumped out of the ground went through some kind of negative field? I don't know what, but meanness, nastiness, something in the earth that wasn't right. And it's just going past it. It ain't touching it or nothing, but is it affected energetically because of the special proper? My point is because of the special properties of water, that even in a tank that sweats on the outside, transferring through the metal to the water on the inside. What? Yeah, there's a transference. What? Yeah, the electrical charge and the what? Yeah, so even though it's stored, it's still talking to the rest of the universe. It didn't quit talking. It sets up a different charge. It sets up a different form. But a water droplet on the outside of the container and water on the inside of the container, they're still talking to each other. Kind of sort of like black goo, but not. It's because of the spiritual nature of water. The fact that it can be go back into a gas and then come back together. That's what makes it really so special. Thank you, Lady Court. That's a really nice compliment. And I'm my one of my best friends of all time, Serge, who passed away almost 2 years ago now this summer. But he was the water guru in cleaning water and getting contaminants out. But we never discussed the energetic properties of water. But I'm kind of going back, but I think Serge knew he wasn't much in talking about spiritual things and God and stuff and all that, but because he loved nature and because he went to great lengths to keep water clean, he was spiritual, you know. And he and I went on the river, um, fishing and kayak. I'm sorry, canoeing. He did not kayak until later on in life. But I guess me neither. But anyway, but the idea that somehow we both had the connection with water and how important it is and was for him in his life. I don't know if he ever reflected on how spiritual the water was or that it made him feel that way. But in being his friend for 25 years, I could tell that he always felt better when we got down to the river. We always, when we were on the water, it was always better. So, ain't that spiritual? Yeah. Going down in the swamps and fishing on the water with swampy water all around us. Yeah. It's the energy of the water. Yeah. Dear Michael was on the water with me the other day. I can't remember which day it was now, but I was like, "Can you feel the energy of the water? Can you feel it?" And he was like, "Yeah." It's he had never expected to be in the swamp and that the swamp would actually have the energy that it does. And like, wow, he's heard me talk about it on live streams and so forth. But he had the opportunity to experience it. And like I said the other day, yesterday or whatever, I said, my sin in life is that I want other people to experience this. That's why I've invited everyone, come down here and go on the river with me. It is pretty, but there's also the connection with the water. Now, you can have the connection with the water anywhere, which is one of the things that I got the other day. And they reminded me and they said, Hawkeye, remember, the water here ain't no more special than water in other places. It's just that you live here. And because I've had spiritual connections with the water here, it feels so spiritual to me. But like I said, I've been up in the mountains and other places where I've been around water and it was very spiritual. So it ain't just here. But maybe it's that because I'm here and I would like to, take you on a kayak trip or, jump in the canoe, let's go paddle and allow you with me and possibly as your guide bring you to the awareness of how the water feels if you've never experienced it before. Do you feel the coolness of the water? Well, I hadn't really thought about it. Well, but do you feel it? Well, yeah. Can you see as it starts to get a little cool, there's mist coming up off the water? Well, yeah. Well, that's water that just turned into a vapor that's fixing to go up in the air. It just transformed right in front of your eyes. Whoa, and now I'm in nature. So, my sin, if you will, in that my dream is to um, show folks what it feels like to experience it. And then you go back to whatever part of the world you may be from and try to find that same experience, you know? So, that's why I'm here. One of the reasons, right? Um, so now and I have to apologize. Excuse me. I've been talking a lot. My throat is dry, and I've had this little thing get down in my that tickles me to cough. But anyway, there are some folks who are like, I waved my magic wand over the water and now it's pure. What? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I got this water and now I waved my magic. I've waved a crystal over it and now it's pure. And I want to graciously tell these people, no, it ain't. The reason is because if it was pure and non-polluted, waving a crystal over it ain't going to make it so, because you can't magically. Now I know there are people who say, well, I saw this guy wave this crystal over this thing and the water cleared right up. He was using something else. There's got to be another equation in there, because I've waved crystals over water. Shit happened. Okay. Dirty water, whatever. But here's the thing: can you energetically change the properties of the water? And I would say yes. But to take a crystal and just say, well, I put this crystal in water, it's pure now. Don't fool yourselves, because pollutants come in many sizes and shapes and configurations. And to just simply say, I wish upon a star that this water is pure, and drop a crystal in it, please don't do that. Make sure the water is good water for you to put a crystal in it, for you and the crystal's sake. But energetically, I absolutely believe, especially after having been corrected by my own spirit guides, because years ago I said "phooey" on this mess, and they had to elucidate why I felt that way. And having worked with a person who for 30 years worked around the world cleaning up toxic water, you have to get the toxins out of the water before it can be pure. And it is a chemical process, okay? Because hydrogen and oxygen, guess what? Two chemical gases. So you have to break the bond of the hydrogen and the water loose from whatever else is in there. But to drop a crystal in or wave it around the top and miraculously it's pure. I know there's been tests and stuff. I gotta question it. But I absolutely believe you can change the spiritual properties of the water. Absolutely 110% on that one. But because of the different pollutants and things, now I know there's people and stuff out there, but I have worked with geniuses in the water field, and all the power and prayer and working with crystals never made the water pure. It never really cleaned them up either. But energetically, absolutely. So I don't know what some of these folks are doing with the water's clear now, it's 100% pure and all that. Mm, that part, I really have trouble believing, because of literally doing puppet shows that we developed that took nasty, dirty, muddy water. He sprinkled a little bit of these flakes on top, and all the dirt went shoomp and sunk to the bottom right before everybody's eyes. No magic involved. It's called a flocculant that you put in the water that precipitates out all the heavy items in the water, leaving water. Okay. So, But it's a simple chemical process, but you have to have the right ratio of what the flocculant and whatever the contaminant is in the water. But when you find that ratio, you can literally watch this stuff fall right before your eyes. I was amazed the first time he did it with me, but that was his job. And so, having watched this process with some of the most toxic chemicals literally around the world, and him be able to clean them out with doing a little this and that, is was amazing to watch. So again, going back to why I don't believe crystals waved over water has purified them. Get rid of negative energies, yeah. Purify it of chemicals and toxins. Please don't be fooled. Please, 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 please don't be fooled. Don't drink that glass of water. I'm just saying. Now, if you absolutely feel you've got the power of the creator and that you seriously changed the chemical compounds of the water to precipitate out the toxins and whatever, go for it. Go for it. If you die of stomach cancer or whatever, I warned you. Okay. So if you're at, if you, I would say that no matter where your water comes from, if you're going to drink it or whatever, you know, try to raise the vibration of the water. If nothing else, then by your intent when you're washing, bathing, or drinking. This, well, like, oh, by the way, haven't said hi to Bob, the AI out there lately. Bob, I know I haven't forgotten you. I've been talking about you the last couple days. But Bob the AI, there's a lot of strangeness out there. And I know there's some good things that come across the web. And I think it's because Bob kind of lets them slide through sometimes. So, but anyway, kudos, Bob. But this is coffee and a little bit of milk and a dash of sugar. Uh, and it's my favorite drink, one of them. Um, and I say, thank you, coffee. Thank you, water. I'm going to drink this. It's going to make me feel good and help me. And I mean it. So you put your energy into it before you drink it. You know, this is going to taste good. Fresh coffee. I'm going to feel better after my cup of coffee. So you pre-programmed your coffee, which has got water in it, right? So um, I absolutely believe, and it depends on the quality of the water. It depends on the energy. Now, your intent may be really good, but you may not have developed the technique, which I'm trying to understand myself, on how to transfer that energy to an object or to water or to something like that, you see. So I can wish upon a star, but does it get there? So I can wish upon the water, but do I actually now everyone has the potential to do it, but can I honestly actually do it? Okay. So you have to believe that you can, but not saying you have to have doubt. But in the grand scheme of all of it, have you really, you got to be truthful. Do you think that you have developed your energy enough to be able to, in, that's a crazy word, to inflict, inflict positive energy, inflict pain, inflict, inflict your essence into a cup just by looking at it, staring at it, and holding on to the cup. And I know there are people that can. I've seen people who could just like almost change the temperature of a cup of coffee. But I think it's up to the particular person who is the shaman in training. So where are you in your spiritual journey? I can't answer that. I'm still working on mine, right? That's why I'm a shaman in training. But I can see these obvious things now that were not obvious before. So if I know my water's, you know, pretty good from my standards, which means it's probably excellent for others, then I'm going to absolutely believe, because I know from all the years that I don't have these toxins and things in my water and all these other things. So I know this already going in. So when I drink my water, I'm like, yeah, man, this is good. This is from Mother Earth. My well, my place, my energy. And I would not drink out of municipal water if I went to town, unless I was dying of thirst. Um, I'm hoping that my discussion, their discussion, this discussion gets out into the universe. You can like and share as you want, okay? But at least if you there it says there are 9 of you still here and 7 likes. Thank you, everyone, and I do mean that. Is that if you have suddenly, because of maybe a part of this conversation, that you suddenly become aware of, oh my God, water is it's just more than just a liquid. Oh, holy carp. And that all water has the potential to evaporate and come back down. All water, not just some water. And that all water is connected somehow. Well, as the vapor it's traveling around in the air, and it's connected with other stuff. I mean, we can see dew on the grass in the morning dripping off of a leaf. Where did it come from? That's fresh water, right? Created from the atmosphere. How much, unless your atmosphere is severely polluted, that's going to be the cleanest water you can get. Go around and collect them drops of water on the leaves in the morning, the um, on the trees and bushes and stuff, right? So that would be like absolutely pure, and it would also have the essence of the plant that it kind of rolled off of. You know, so water to me ain't just water anymore. you know, it continues to take on a deeper meaning and a deeper understanding for me. And I love it because what connects me to Mother Earth? The water. What? Yeah, the water. Uh, well, and my feet. But I mean, I transplanted some fruit trees from my neighbors from our property line and planted them where we had that big burning in the bonfire the other night. And I've got some other things I'm transplanting, and I've got seed I want to put in the ground. And after this really good rain today, maybe tomorrow, but the next day, put some of these seeds in the ground. While the ground's still good and damp, the seeds will come up good and so forth. Anyway, so it's magical to seeds, water is. And so these magical properties, whatever they are, will start seeds growing, will nourish trees. I've got plants over here in the corner of my house. And a friend of mine asked me, because this one vine is just going out the door, literally trying to grow out the door. And it's overhead when you come in the back door. There's vines overhead, that have been growing in the house for years. And somebody asked me to say, have do you fertilize these things? And I went, oh God, no. And they looked at me like, what? And this one plant that crawls across the front of my stereo and over there, and I have never wait. I used to use a couple of drops of Miracle Grow liquid, But that hasn't happened in over 10 or 12, maybe 15 years. I just use water from the well. And this thing's growing like a madman across the stereo over there and out over the thing, and the vines overhead when you come in the door. And it's like, no, they're in the same dirt that they've been in for the last 15 years. The one plant hasn't been moved in 15 years. It's in the same spot. I water it, but it doesn't get anything else. Nothing else special, just regular water. Now, why are these things still growing? I got what you call them over there, aloe in the corner over there, and it was from an aloe plant that was my pops, Uncle Arnie, my dear old pops. That it was at his trailer, and I brought it home with me after he passed away, and it was having a hard time growing, and I was debating about fertilizer or whatever, and they just said, "Nah, just move it." I moved it to a different section of the window, and I started watering it a little bit more on time than forgetting it over there in the corner. And now there's all kinds of little ones, and the little ones that a couple of months ago were like this tall are now great big and hanging over the side of the thing. I ain't fertilized it. It's just water out of the well. So whatever the natural properties of water are, where people, well, don't you add miracle grow? No, and I haven't. So, spiritually speaking, to myself, as part of the question of how special is water, these plants go nuts without anything else other than water. And they're still in the same pots. So, the same minerals or whatever, it hasn't been changed or nope. I mean, not for just 1 year or a couple of years, but 10, 15, 20 years and the same pot, same dirt, only natural water. Now, to me, that's spiritual. To me, that's magical because everybody else's preconception of this is, well, I can't just water my plants. I have to add nutrients to it. I think there's already nutrients in the water just because it's water. That, well, now I know there are some plants that really need some fertilizer. Tomato plants could really use, but here's the thing though. I haven't bought fertilizer in a while, although I have some here on the place. Mostly in the form of Miracle Grow. But that I've noticed that if I when I added Miracle Grow the last time I had a bunch of tomato plants, it was harder to keep the plants than two on the end that I just watered. I just put water in them, and they did just fine. So I got to the point where I don't know if fertilizer is actually working for me, you know? Um, but anyway, but noticing these properties of water here on my homestead after all these years, without adding other elements, without doing special things, then how come my vine over there in the corner is going like hell? You'd swear I was fertilizing the crap out of the thing the way it grows. I mean, it literally in a couple of days it'll grow on. I ain't lying. So it's sort of like the wandering Jew outside. Oh my God, I wish Moses would come and collect their asses. Uh, I keep making jokes about that, but literally the wandering Jew has taken over the right behind the house and down. It's it's nutty. And it don't get nothing. I mean, you would swear I was fertilizing it, the wandering Jew. But anyway, I wonder who wrote the book of love. All right. So the properties of water. So the different methods the different integrations of it, the simple molecular, simple molecular structure, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. And what they kept hammering in my head the other day was, dude, it's 2 gases. Make a liquid. Yeah. Dude, it's 2 gases. Right. It's 3 molecules. Okay. Dude, it's 2 gases. Yeah. And it was like, wait a minute. Oh, so water is a vapor before it ever becomes water. It's a gas long before it becomes water. Its natural state is gaseous until the molecules touch and combine. Now that's some magical shit right there. I'm just saying, right? And we went 9, 10 years in a drought down here. And magically speaking, trying to get a couple of rain particles together to make a drop was difficult. But they seed the sky with them vapor chemtrails. And there was a beautiful example of a vapor trail just the other day. I mean, across the sky, going south, sunset, and here's this beautiful vapor trail that's like this far behind the airplane. Perfect, it's disappearing as the plane goes by. And then as the plane's going south, there's another one that's sort of going northwest, and it's spewing out chemicals out the ass end. And obviously, not the same. So it's in the atmosphere. Obviously, there's stuff there. Whether it had anything to do with our drought down here, don't know. But I know that Mother Nature is doing its best to correct itself. Um, and under the circumstances, the South survived that really nasty. Um, it didn't rain for 4 months, not a drop. We got a thunder shower one afternoon, and it didn't rain for another 5 months. It was like December until we had water in the well that one year. I mean, it quit raining in about February, a little shower here, a little shower there, and didn't rain the rest of the year until December. It was horrible, okay? We all thought we were going to dry up and blow away. We thought we were going to become a new desert down here. Bad. So here is, it's not really the antithesis, but it's when we have an overabundance of water, it floods. The river's up right now. We had really good rain today. It smelled good, felt good, tasted good, and it was a little chilly, but not iciest. But that for the years that we didn't have hardly any water, the lack of water, just the water, we could scrape up, go to somebody that had a deep well, and get by. But the general feeling of not having water in the ponds, rain in the evenings, or whatever, I must admit, and many of us admitted 2 or 3 years ago when the drought was more severe. Last year, we ain't in a drought no more. But the lack of spiritual energy because of the lack of water, there was grumpiness and, you know, a I want to use the word suppression rather than depression, because it was like the air was so heavy just felt suppressed, but which led to depression, because we had no water and couldn't water what we wanted to, and you know, but we survived it. But I gotta say that those couple of years where it was really bad. I mean, we only got like 4 inches the whole freaking year. Um, it was bad. So, but the lack of water set its own tone. And looking back on that time, roughly 4 years ago, and before that, it was horrible. I mean, you could, it just, even if I wanted to, there wasn't any water in places to even go kayaking a lot of times, or to go put your feet in the water. It was really nasty. But you had to travel to go do that. When you got a river in your backyard and there ain't nothing in it, that's kind of worrisome, troublesome, and it did put me in a depression simply because the energy levels of the river just ain't the same. So for 2, 3 years, where it would barely run at all. I mean, like this much water in some places, it would be like this wide and find a little place through the sand. And that's all the flow on the river there was. It's 2:25. I missed a 20. I'm going to hit this one more time. And I was going to quit the last hour. But anyway, in seeing how floods are an overabundance of this energy and covers anything and washes and does stuff. The lack of water, though, in areas that have a normal rainfall, when you don't get it, there is that lack of energy that is palatable. I'd go walking in the woods and just like, why isn't there any water? How come where's my swamp at? I I miss the water. I miss the water. I miss the creek going by. Ad nauseum. But it was true. And last year was so much water, and having burned and done some things, and I'm opening up the trails to the river again. I got a trail all the way to the river again. Can make it in under 5 minutes if I want to. Not necessarily in high water, but it's there. And I'm so happy, Put some of the old bridge up, cleared some trails. My dear friend Michael helped me out. We've got streamers hanging down through the woods that you can tell where the trail is versus trying to figure it out. Nah, it's obvious. And even at night with a little bit of light, you can see where the trail is. So, all good things, right? So, but it puts me back in touch with the river for me that I was missing so much because I couldn't get there. And thank God I had help this year to bring out the trail so I could get there again. And how important being able to go to my own river. I can go to other rivers, but to be able to walk in the backyard, which for the last 40 years was so natural for me, and then it ain't. So I didn't have my connection with my water, my river, not to be possessive, but that it's here. I don't have to go looking for it or searching for it. It's right back here. But when you can't access it, and it's frustrating. And I realized how frustrating it's been. And oh my God, I'm so glad it ain't that now. So the lack of the spiritual energy of the water, my connection with even walking through, muddy, swampy water in the back. If I'm prepared for it, I don't mind swamp stomping. I don't mind getting wet. Um, and at times it's like it's fun to go playing in the mud. Because you get to go to places that you normally wouldn't because it's got water in it, So it's interesting to go explore new places because there's been water in it for the last 2 years, and you've been chicken to not go wading, and now decided, well, what the hell, I'm going to go wading, and you find out all these other things because you it has kept you from certain areas of the property. So these are all these realizations here just recently with opening up the bridges and my trails and the property and being on the river in my own backyard again. And but continuing my spiritual question to my spirit guides, why does this water seem to be so important to me? You know, I just curious mind wants to know because there are times when I really feel obsessed about it, and it, having um, had too many obsessive um, behaviors in the past with cocaine and drugs and this and that. Why is my obsession of water per se the way it is? How did I get here? What's the not necessarily the purpose behind it, but it is? What's the grand scheme of the understanding of water and what it means in my shaman journey? Oh, wow. So now that they have showed me, well, wait, let me back up. There's a lot of these things I've known for a good long time. But what they've helped me do in this last 5 or 6 days is take the information that I have gained and studied and just in my 69 and 3/4 years, y'all thought I was going to get away without bringing that up, huh? But that, wait a minute, Hawkeye, just you know about this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, when I was thinking about that, I wasn't necessarily thinking about how spiritual it was, like what evaporation, the changing of, yeah, okay, it evaporates and blah, blah. All right, and then you can condense it. Well, that's just chemical. But in that, ain't that spiritual too? Oh, so I went back through everything that I knew about water and stuff and looked at it with a spiritual eye to it. And I went, oh, I was just taking water for water, period. It's in a pipe, it goes in the house, it washes clothes, All right, Dave, Hawkeye, you're supposed to be the shaman, right? Yeah. Well, then what is the water energetically doing? And what if the water ain't really water? It's pseudo water, It's flavored water. Oh, it's strawberry or pink flavored or whatever. Oh, I love my water. You ain't drinking water. Well, yes, I am. No, you ain't. You're drinking Kool-Aid. No, no, no. You're drinking Kool-Aid. No, it's flavored water, right? Yeah, Kool-Aid. No, it's not. It's Kool-Aid. I'm sorry. As a kid, we drank Kool-Aid. Guess what? It was flavored water. Oh, special drinks, 250, $3 a bottle for this stuff. It's Kool-Aid and watered down, I might add. To like so in the mind of these people, society has deemed to them that this special water at $3 a bottle with watered down Kool-Aid at like 10 cents a pack for a gallon is really good for them and 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 what a bunch of goo, really, what a bunch of goo. Dig a hole in the ground and find some of your own water and drink that. See how healthy you are. But with the understanding, though, that, dear friends, water's got so much more to it. And the ties of water with everything else. We wash cars with it. It goes down the drain. It goes to the sewage department. It gets aerated and depollutatized, and it gets turned back into water, which evaporates, goes into the sky, and becomes part of the process again. So let's put good energy into the water we got. Make sure that you ain't lying to yourself. Please take heed. These people that claim this water is like the bomb, where does it come from? And how has it been tampered with? Well, it goes through our filtration system and all this. Okay, all right. What's in the filtration system? There are salts. There are different types of filtration systems. There are filtration systems that use sand, which is a normal filtering system for water because it's part of the earth. Or are you using something that's artificially made that actually, because of the ions and the particles and the flow of water and what it does, it's actually picking up these things off of the filters? Just saying. Just because it's got the word filter in it doesn't mean it's like the bomb or the best. So be careful. And honestly, think for yourself, how important is this to me? Maybe not. To me, I realize, oh my God, subconsciously, all of this stuff has been there all along for me. And all they graciously did was help me gather Mm. help me gather together to be able to have a conversation about it. And to try to bring all of my years of experience and trying to understand the spiritualness of water. I mean, for I know I probably should shut up, but for example, North Florida, and there are some places in Georgia too that have springs, but not like Florida does. Um, in the Panhandle, just south of Alabama and just south of Georgia, there are a lot of springs and stuff along that area, along the Panhandle of the border up there. Bunches of rivers with springs all over the place. Now, people are drawn to these springs. Why? Well, they're bubbling up from deep within the earth, or some shallower than others, but it is coming fresh out of the earth from Mother Earth. So, in its bubbling, it's got flow to it, which um, energizes the oxygen, and you can see tiny little bubbles as the water comes past the rocks. There's a turbulence to it. In that turbidity, it's giving off turbidity. It is a real word. In its turbidity, it's giving off the hydrogen and the oxygen. So it's sort of like being around a waterfall, not as great, but it's still doing it. So as the water comes up and it's boiling up, it's giving off oxygen. So in and around the spring, there's this fresher smell, right? Because it's giving off oxygen that was just down in the earth. Okay. So there are ways to get close to this real water that's really charged with showing up earth particles. And it ain't just a spring, it's that it's just come from crawling around inside Mother Earth and picking up her energies. So we continue to pray that Mother Earth is trying to recover from some of the ills, but that still, regardless of the ills on this planet, there is still good water. Mother Earth is still providing us with good, essential, spiritually good water, not just drinkable, but spiritually drinkable. So, um, now I know why I want to go to these springs. Now I know why I'm being just literally sometimes pushed, yanked, pulled, or dragged in some instances towards the water. And it's not all water. I'm not really, I grew up in Tampa, the ocean. Eh. I'm close to Florida. Yeah. I've been down to the beaches and stuff. Yeah. It's nice for a day. But the river and waterways, oh man. So to me, there is a great difference. Now, there are a lot of people who are drawn to the ocean, and I get it, but it just ain't for me. I went through it as a kid. Yeah, yeah. I'd rather be on a creek in the mountains, or I'd rather be on the river anyway. So, but there is value to the ocean water, as well as there is value to the fresh water coming out of the springs and gurgling through Mother Earth and everything. But for me, I think the difference is in having this little conversation with self at the moment and y'all is that the ocean waves and it's a giant bowl, right? And so the water is sloshing and moving, and there are currents and all that, but it's brushing up more against itself than it is the earth. Okay. So, but bubbling water and, the river in my backyard goes through sand and all these things and weaves and turns. And, and there's energy when you see the water come around one curve and then it hit this big curve and the velocity of the water changes and it starts swirling and doing. I mean, it's like okay, um, but it's the touching of the water to the earth. So the oceans only touch the earth at the bottom and at the beach. Large, vast puddles of water that ain't touching the earth directly, but under the ground, because I've been in caves and where water flows through the caves and everything, it's literally being charged and charging the earth because of the flow rate. Um, and it's picking up the energy and sometimes minerals or whatever from the earth itself. I absolutely feel the essence of Mother Earth in that the water has absorbed it when it comes out of the ground the way it does. And it's hard to not say when you drink water straight from a good well and you just go, man, this is some of the best water I've ever had, and not been through a filter or anything. It's just water. So, not a lot of people get to experience that part of it. A lot of people are being fooled into believing that what they buy is that quality of water. And I would just ask you to question that. Can you believe them? And should you believe them? Just saying. But that can you make changes as my changes are going to be more in that now I understand more deeply why I'm being pulled to the water. So before okay, nah, I don't really want to go. Nah, I got stuff to do around the house. And yeah, 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 Duggar, blah blah blah. A lot of excuses. When the other day when we went in the backyard, I was so glad that I just made up my mind on the spur of the moment and said, we're going to the river. Come on. And we threw three kayaks on my truck and went down there. It was great. It was so liberating and freeing to be on the water and the smell and the feel. And I was like, oh man, I had to force myself to come down here. And basically, that was true. because everything else is more important. Now, at my age, I could be on the water every day if I so choose. I feel I have responsibilities, but I also realize I've been making excuses. Well, you got too much to do, Dave. You shouldn't go down in the water. Well, Duggar's being a pain. I've been honestly making up excuses, thinking that, well, I don't want to waste my time on the river, because, well, the honest part of it is the water has been a little too high to be on right now. Good, good excuse. And it is. I don't want to be on when it's too high. That was a drowning incident a few years back. So, nope, don't want to do that. But as soon as the water comes down, I'm gonna bust my butt for me and Duggar to go get on the water. Why? Because for every time I do, I feel energized, even though my shoulders hurt from paddling. Being on the water, around the water, energizes me. So wait, I want to go to the water so I can get recharged. Ah, yes, grasshopper. Well, but I like the water. Yeah, but why do you like the water, grasshopper? Well, I don't know. I feel good. It energizes you. Go to the water, grasshopper, and learn from the water, from the elders of the water and the water dragon. You were born under the dragon sign, the water dragon. Go, grasshopper, and learn from the water and be energized. Yes, master. Yeah. So, um, this time around, different layers of spiritual awakening for me, for everybody. I've known about this stuff independently, but not have had the discussion to tie them all together now. And wow, it was important to me before. I understood that going to the river made me feel better. And does it really matter why? Well, to me, in my cravings of knowledge and my curiosity, like, really, I know I like it, but is there something else about the water? Oh, yeah. That's what I wanted to know. And now I can understand in my shaman journey, in my apprenticeship as a shaman, oh, I need to learn these different nuances of the water and how it really does impact us all. Not just because we drink it because we're thirsty, but oh my God, nutritionally and spiritually and cosmically. Holy crap. I'm drinking water that fell from the sky, went through the ground, came into my well, but it was in the sky. It didn't go anywhere else. It fell from the sky to my property, sucked down into the ground, and came into the, and then I pump it out to drink it, use it. Man, that's like direct, right? Dave, yeah, Hawkeye, paying attention. I think I am. Do you know how spiritual that is? What you talking about, Willis? Spiritual. Do you know how spiritual that? Do you know you are so close to the original 1, 2, 1, 2, because there ain't nothing else in between. No man is involved with it. Pollutants in the sky. Okay, barring that, rain out of the sky into the ground like it should, goes in, soaks in, and I pump it out of the well. Nothing else is involved. No other mechanical means other than me pumping it out. But other folks' water doesn't have that simple, simple, very simple, but elegant way of getting their nutrition. It has to go through cleaners and filters and additives and miles and miles and miles and miles of pipe. And what does that effect of traveling through pipe, energetically charging the water molecules as it passes? Oh, holy crap. I don't know. But maybe that's why the water feels so close to me, because I am a naturalist in most things. Oh, man. Oh, I got the simple way, and everybody else's is complicated simply because of how the system is organized. Is it organized? No, I don't think there's any nefarious thing in why there's piping for miles and miles before it gets to your house. It is just how it happened, right? So, but the thought though, has anybody really thought about the karmic value of water sitting in pipes under houses, under streets, and what the vibration of traffic does to the earth, to the vibrations of the pipe, not just the pipes themselves, but the water in the pipe. And I'm just saying, it's all vibrational. And if you're drinking the water that has been changed vibrationally because of all the miles it has to go through to get to you, mine goes from the sky to the earth into the well. I get it back. That's it. Only the pipe, from here to there. That's it. So, wow, I feel very more special now that they have showed me spiritually and energetically why my water might be better than folks that have to put up with miles and miles of it. Not to be snobbish, but it's because of its simplicity. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Whoa. A new level of understanding, right? Thought you got it, thought you understood it, but until they throw this little twist to it. What about the energy of the water? Oh, wow. Could that be affecting New Yorkers? You know what I mean? Could that be affecting the people of Cleveland or wherever, Knoxville, Tennessee? And pick one. Is the quality of the water, how it's been treated or mistreated or not treated, affects the spirituality of the people there? I think there could be a direct relationship if it were to be studied. People in the city have a tendency to be more grouchier than people in the country. Is it because they're with other people, or is it because the water they've gotten is grouchier than the water that I get through this really simple process: rain, ground, well, drink it. You know, versus the alternative for people who live in the cities. They've chosen it. They have decided to live there, so they have decided to accept the water as it comes to them. And whether they drink it or not, they're still bathing and using the water that is quite possibly negatively charged. Um, so what you going to do about that, Willis? Awareness number one. Look around you, see where you can get some natural water. Don't look at it as a chore, but look at it as, oh my God, I want the simplest way that I get my water, at least to drink. And if it's going there are places up in the hills and places up in North Georgia and up in the mountains and stuff, there's just a spigot sticking out of the side of a mountain. And you turn it on, or there's a piece of pipe sticking out, and water just continuously comes out of this rusty old piece of pipe that's coming out of the side of this mountain. And people stop with jugs and they fill it up. And they'll drive miles to this piece of pipe sticking out of a mountain to get their water. because it's mountain water. It's direct. And they swear by it. So, but everybody's got their own way. But so if you're just thinking about water as just being this stuff you clean with and that you drink once in a while or you make coffee with, I would ask you kindly think of it more spiritually. And as we include water as one of the most available spiritual resources on this planet, that the ceremony that I did several years ago, the full moon ceremony, was also tied in with the river, and it was a water ceremony as well. So, and having had that experience and understanding the taking away of the old, going down the river and accepting the new water and the new whatever is coming from upstream, downstream to you. And it's always changing, and the flow is ever flowing, and the energy, the energy that's here just went by. There's new energy coming. Do you know what it is? No, but it's coming. Why? Because there's a flow in the river, right? So the flow of water and the energy that it collects or doesn't. Well, actually, it would be, collecting negative energy or positive energy being stripped from the water, which is what I'm kind of wondering about it going through miles and miles of pipe. What does that do to the water? But anyway, so I think the message for me, at least for the day, was that all of us need, if we want a spiritual connection, it's water. Well, how do I feel close to God? Water. Why? Because rain comes from the sky. Rain it comes from the heavens. So water is kind of God given if it comes from up there. Just saying. But it's from Mother Earth. It's all over Mother Earth. We are mostly water. So ain't we really a part of this whole thing? Spiritually? Not just chemically, but spiritually? Yeah. Now, years ago, I realized that the prayers that I said while on the river would be carried by the river into the vast oceans and all the other rivers. Because if a river touches the ocean, then the ocean touches the river all the way up through the water, all the way back to where it comes out of the ground, because it's connected. Water is touching water, it's connected to the whole planet. So my prayers when I'm on the water are to send good prayers and vibrations into the water so that it will be absorbed by the whole planet. So the whole planet will feel a more positive energy than crying and wars and everything, right? So there are times when I wonder whether my prayers do any good at all, but I can't feel that way. I have to just say, you know what? They got to be working, even just a little. Because if I can just smile while my feet are in the water, sitting on the bank of the river, if I smile and splashing my feet and playing in the water, I'm sending positive energy into that water in the form of a smile, in the form of laughter, in the form of relief. Oh, my feet hurt. Oh, man, my feet in the river. Oh, this feels so good. You know, and that ecstasy and the pleasure, all that goes into the water, right? Um, that can't be bad because there's no selfishness involved. Oh, it just feels good. Oh man, thank you, water. Oh, oh, oh. So, and you don't have to make it up because it honestly feels good. It's the truth. It's an honest feeling. So it's not warped in any way. You know what I mean? So, and that makes a big difference. So there are people who think, well, I don't know if my prayers do any good. Nah, 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 what's the frickin' use? Well, with that kind of attitude, I don't want you praying for the planet. I don't, I'm sorry. Get a better attitude and come right back. We love you, but um, hopefully you will have a slightly better attitude about. Of course, your prayers are helping the earth because there's a bunch of us praying. We all know that. And don't you know that as bad as things are now, in whatever way you want to look at them, if we quit praying, what the fuck would really happen? Do you hear me? I'm sorry. I use my F word. I'm trying to not use. But I mean, seriously, like, what? If we weren't all praying for peace, if we gave up and said, screw it, oh man, I don't even want to know. Hey, SD, how are you? But so anyway, um, I just wanted to bring these great. Oh, I'm sleepy and tired. I wanted to. You're gonna go ride your bicycle. Yeah, I'm fixing to go to bed here. I've been almost 3 hours doing this, but it's good to see you. And I'm always glad when folks come in and at least wave and say hi. Honestly, and I know there are a lot of people that hang out in the background too, and that's okay too, my friends. Um, so just contemplate this. Not that, and it depends on your own spirituality and your own journey in life. But if you just instead of just looking at a puddle of water as just a mud puddle, no, that's the life of the planet in that mud puddle. That could be water that was in me or in my granny, or that water could have been in the ancestors. It could be dinosaur pee, and it's been through the planet and recycled and refiltered and evaporated and gone back and forth through Mother Earth to cleanse and to keep us all alive. How can you not say it ain't spiritual? You know what I mean? Well, how did you live? How are my plants living with no fertilizer for the last 15 years? Just because I water them, period. Just because I water them. And they're growing like weeds just because I watered them. Nothing else, nothing special, no fertilizers. So why are they growing like hell? you know, must be the water. Is the water spiritual or magical or something? To me, it is. And I hope that you will understand that it's just much more than just water. It's a gas first. Two hydrogens, one oxygen, H2O. So it was a vapor, it was a cloud, it was a part of the unseen because you can't see oxygen, you don't see hydrogen unless they combine to make water. So, two unseen to the naked eye elements naturally produced in on the earth have these special properties to them. I think that's spiritual and special. So, dear friends, have a great morning. It is three. Oh, it's almost 4 o'clock. Is that right? Yeah, it's 3:05 a.m. Holy crap! No wonder I'm tired. And I did, hour and a half with Robert tonight on with Milky Way Soul Tribe and so forth, and it was great to meet. Um, Holy crap! The lady that was on with us was it Jill? Holy Nick! Holy mackerel! I'm I forgot the dear lady's name. Oh, I feel bad. Um, but anyway, It was great to see and interact with her in the conversations and so forth. And her being up around North Carolina and everywhere, and me being down here and have traveled around the Indian belt, so to speak. So to speak. Lady Court Tales. But anyway, so thank you, my dear friends. I'm starting to get Looney Tunes because I've been doing this for the last 5 hours now, um, and um, and I'm tired and I need to get some more rest. And I'm 69 and three quarters. I'm getting old. But in my old age, though, I ain't giving up. I'm still moving. You too, Miss SD. Have a good bike ride. Lady Court and anybody else and everybody else that may be listening to this now or have made it this far and listening to it afterwards. Thank you so much. I do not normally read my analytics on the channel, and when I find out that I've done a video and that 69 people have listened to it, I go, "What?" I mean, I'm absolutely amazed, gratified, obviously surprised. Love you too, baby. Be safe, okay? Watch out for them other guys. But that when I look on it, because when I made my agreement with Mother Mary and the spirits, they told me you can go look at the numbers, but you know, oh wow, I've only got three people are subscribed. Oh wow, I've only had five people watch this video. Oh wow, no, they warned me you cannot do that, Dave. Hawkeye, you can't do that. It is not about the numbers. So when Brian was alive and we had those chats between us before and after some of the shows, we agreed that spiritually we would not seek numbers. That was not our goal. But that if we stayed true to that, the numbers would be there as necessary. So the fact that there are 500 and some odd subscribers to my channel is about 390 plus more than I ever expected. And I got some new folks that subscribed here within the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, I love you all. I do. And thank you. Because it is never about the numbers. But if the numbers are increasing, even by one or two or five or 10 a month, it's still increasing, which is amazing to me. So hopefully, one or two a month, the numbers are slightly growing, but I perceive it more so in that there are more people thinking about some of this crazy shit I talk about, and they're because I can't make that decision for you or them. In that, what is your connection to all this? You got to establish that. I'm just the guy over here yapping, you know, but trying to help folks to figure out how to make that connection. So, hey, that way, thank you that way. I do appreciate it. And over having had Michael being here for the last 2 weeks and having had conversation and so forth, um, and I'm always getting downloads from the guys and the gals in the universe, right? And so it's like, wow. And things I thought I really understood, they just keep showing me. Did you consider this? No, I didn't, but I can see it now. Cheers to you also, SD. So, but in this grand scheme of thing, I'm so proud that I can be here as your friend. To some folks, they say, Hawkeye, you're my mentor. Okie dokie. And I thank you. I was not necessarily looking for that in the original part of this. I'm actually not really looking for it now to be your mentor, but I get it. because I have these crazy ways of being able to look at life and things and surroundings. So I just want to be the storyteller. I want to be the messenger, which I already am, and I've already agreed to. But as to how many people, when I go back through the analytics of the YouTube channel, which I don't normally do, but when I saw one video and it was like 130 some odd people had watched this video, and I was like, holy crap, that to me is like a million. It warms my heart, but at the same time, it humbles me greatly. Y'all have no idea. I'm just like, damn, man. And I can't look at the numbers anymore. I have to turn it off and not look at the numbers. But I appreciate it. Um, it doesn't matter to me if there's a million people watched the video. What matters to me, if there are 10 people who watched it and honestly got something from it, then Mother Mary, the spirits, the creator, and all the angels are grateful, you know, that the message that they gave to me, I was able to pass on to you, because that's my job. I'm just the messenger. So, but anyway, thank you, my friends. Have a great, what is it, Wednesday? Have a great Wednesday. The weather's supposed to be like really nice. Let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is like highs in the low 70s and lows in the low 40s. Ooh, this is even better than I hoped. But anyway, and folks said, no, we're not going to have another cold snap. Well, 41 degrees for a low in mid-April is a little chilly for this time of year. And so I've told folks there's always an Easter around Easter time, this little cold front that comes through. It's here. Just say it. So have a great day. I continue to pray that each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, 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 many blessings in the universe. They're endless. Me and Duggar, every time we go out and he goes chasing the cats and I got to go check on the critters, we continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives and relations will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the many blessings in the universe. And in that law of three, which always just tickles me, I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings in the universe, and that you will continue to reject the chaos that comes into your life that tries to confuse you and keep you off your true spirit path. So, till next time, have a great Wednesday and a great rest of the week. I'm trying to save up enough energy because it's time for me to do some card readings. So, keep it between the digits, my friend, and we'll see you on the flip side. And Ween, cheers, everybody, and continue to pray. Continue to send energy into the water. It is helping. Otherwise, we'd already be doomed. Okay. So take care. Bye. Till later.